1. When training officers in SFST protocols, which adult learning principle is most critical for skill retention? A. Delivering long lectures without practice. B. Incorporating hands-on demonstrations and real-world practice. C. Providing only written manuals. D. Avoiding feedback to prevent discouragement. 2. Which SFST component is most affected if the officer fails to properly instruct the participant before beginning the test? A. HGN, horizontal gaze nystagmus. B. Walk and turn. C. One-leg stand. D. All of the above. 3. When evaluating the effectiveness of SFST refresher training, which metric best measures learning outcomes? A. Number of officers attending training. B. Improved accuracy of roadside assessments in post-training evaluations. C. Amount of training materials distributed. D. Officer satisfaction surveys only. 4. In curriculum development for SFST certification, which step ensures content validity? A. Mapping learning objectives directly to nhtsa SFST standards. E. Using outdated police academy materials. C. Relying solely on instructor preference for topics. D. Eliminating scenario-based practice to save time. 5. Which communication strategy best ensures drivers understand SFST instructions during testing? A. Delivering instructions rapidly in technical jargon. B. Using clear, concise language and demonstrating each step. C. Avoiding demonstrations to prevent bias. D. Giving written instructions only. 6. Under SFST regulatory compliance, which factor is essential for admissibility in court? A. Officer's personal opinion of impairment. B. Following standardized testing procedures exactly as trained. C. Adapting procedures to save time. D. Using non-standardized cues. 7. Which mentoring approach best helps new officers build confidence in SFST administration? A. Assigning them to practice independently without guidance. A. Pairing them with experienced officers for ride-along evaluations. C. Limiting practice to classroom discussion only. D. Requiring written reports without observation. 8. When conducting SFST training evaluations, which method provides the most objective measure of skill acquisition? A. Peer opinion surveys. B. Practical performance assessments using a checklist. C. Trainer anecdotal notes only. D. Reviewing classroom attendance. 9. In adult learning, why is immediate feedback critical during SFST skill practice? It discourages learners from repeating mistakes. B. It reinforces correct technique while errors are fresh. C. It delays learning for reflection. D. It reduces learner confidence. 10. Which of the following is a key learning outcome for SFST training? A. Ability to describe impairment in legal terms. B. Ability to detect and articulate impairment indicators objectively. C. Ability to memorize all DUI statutes. D. Ability to issue citations quickly. 11. When reviewing SFST training curriculum, which evaluation step ensures continuous improvement? A. Reviewing post-course testing data and updating materials as needed. B. Waiting for state mandates before making changes. Keeping the curriculum static to maintain tradition. D. Eliminating participant feedback to save time. 12. Which SFST test is most sensitive to detecting impairment at lower BAC levels? A. HGN. B. Walk and turn. C. One-leg stand. D. Finger to nose. 13. When mentoring a struggling officer on SFST administration, which approach supports adult learning? A. Critiquing errors publicly during roll call. B. Offering private coaching and additional practice opportunities. C. Ignoring performance issues to avoid conflict. D. Assigning only written study materials. 14. Which communication skill is essential for officers testifying in court about SFST results? A. Using overly technical jargon to impress the court. B. Speaking clearly, confidently, and explaining results in plain language. C. Avoiding eye contact with the judge. D. Giving minimal answers to avoid cross-examination. 15. Which element is crucial in designing scenario-based SFST training exercises? A. Realistic environmental conditions and participant behaviors. B. Perfect idealized conditions only. C. Eliminating distractions to simplify training. D. Using the same scripted participant every time. 16. When evaluating SFST training effectiveness, what is the best indicator of transfer of learning? A number of hours officers spend in training. E. Increased accuracy and consistency in real-world DUI stops. C. Number of training manuals printed. D. Completion of end-of-class quizzes only. 17. Which SFST principle underlies the importance of standardized instructions? A. Ensuring every officer uses personal discretion. B. Promoting consistency and defensibility in court. C. Allowing flexibility to match officer style. D. Reducing time spent on testing. 18. When teaching SFST procedures, which curriculum design best accommodates different learning styles? A. Combining lecture, visual demonstration, and hands-on practice. B. Relying on lecture only. C. Providing a reading list with no interaction. D. Using one testing format for all learners. 19. Which evaluation tool best ensures fairness and reliability of SFST training assessments? A. Standardized scoring rubric aligned to nhtsa standards. E. Trainer's personal judgment only. C. Informal verbal feedback. D. Participant self-evaluation without observation. 20. In SFST compliance audits, which documentation is most critical to maintain? A. Signed attendance sheets only. B. Training records, assessment results, and certification dates. C. Officer patrol logs. D. Vehicle inspection reports. 21. Which mentoring technique fosters reflective practice for officers improving SFST skills? A. Guided debriefs after DUI stops to analyze decisions. B. Immediate reassignment to administrative duty. C. Avoiding discussion of mistakes. D. Providing only written corrections. 22. During SFST training, which communication technique helps clarify complex tasks like HGN? A. Demonstrating slowly and explaining each step. B. Speaking quickly to maintain pace. C. Using only written diagrams. D. Assuming learners already understand eye movement physiology. 23. Which adult learning approach supports retention of SFST decision-making skills under stress? Practicing scenarios under realistic, high-pressure conditions. B. Avoiding stressful practice situations. C. Limiting practice to classroom discussions. D. Using video-only demonstrations. 24. Which step best ensures SFST training remains current with legal standards? A. Periodic review and update of training content based on case law. B. Waiting for federal mandates to require updates. C. Ignoring changes to case law until contested in court. D. Relying on informal officer feedback only. 25. In evaluating SFST trainer effectiveness, which measure is most reliable? A. Improvement in trainee assessment scores and field performance. B. Trainer popularity ratings. C. Number of training sessions delivered. D. Length of presentations. 26. Which SFST test requires the officer to observe for lack of smooth pursuit and distinct nystagmus at maximum deviation? A. Walk and turn. E. One-leg stand. C. HGN. D. Finger dexterity test. 27. Which communication skill helps prevent misunderstandings when instructing participants during roadside testing? A. Asking the participant to repeat instructions back. B. Speaking softly to avoid confrontation. C. Avoiding verbal interaction. D. Using only hand signals. 28. When designing SFST refresher courses, which adult learning principle improves motivation? A. Showing real-world examples of impaired driving incidents. B. Keeping content abstract and theoretical. C. Avoiding relevance to fieldwork. D. Delivering information without context. 29. Which mentoring approach helps officers internalize SFST decision-making criteria? Encouraging them to articulate their observations and legal reasoning aloud. B. Giving them final results without explanation. C. Limiting discussion to group lectures. D. Avoiding reflective questioning. 30. When evaluating SFST program outcomes, which metric best reflects public safety impact? A. Reduction in alcohol-related crashes following officer training. B. Number of hours officers spent in training. C. Quantity of training materials used. D. Cost per trainee.